As you can see, our arena is rather wet. This is drying, but the sides are pretty wet, and that makes for a really hard place to ride in. Hi guys, it's Jill, and today I am doing a lunging video. I am coming at you with no makeup on because this was an impromptu video and my phone is on a supplement box with a rock behind it. We're just doing it all natural, throwing it back to the good old days when I didn't have any equipment. So some common misconceptions about lunging is that you're just taking the horse in a circle, that it's just to wear the horse out before you ride, and obviously you can definitely lunge your horse to wear it out, but I think that's, I don't like that. It's just, you can make other adjustments aside just running your horse around in a circle forever. So there are lots of, techniques for lunging. This is the one that I find to be most successful. It's also very important to have good body language and understand what you're asking the horse, because if you step in front of their shoulder, they can turn in, and if you get too far behind them, then they can just go straight. So ideally you want to be in between the hip and the shoulder. I almost stand a little closer to the hip, and then I keep my eye on the shoulder and on the hip, and I walk a small circle around while she takes a big circle, So yeah, I also got bit by a bug. Everyone feel bad for me. Is there anything else? So lunging can be a great tool to teach vocal commands to your horse to make your riding easier and your communication with your horse clearer. I teach walk, trot, canter, and whoa, and then trot has the sound, and then canter has the sound. It is very important because it just improves your communication with your horse, and when you're asking them something in the saddle and maybe they don't understand, or you're teaching a young horse, having them already learn the vocal commands on the ground themselves helps them go, oh, that's what she's asking, I got it, and then they relate that to the aids that you're using to ask, and it just makes the stream of communication way easier. I'm a firm believer in vocal cues. Never discount their value because they are invaluable. And anything else? So you can see I have my rope done up like this. I'll insert the video of me doing that now. So you have your rope, and I just take it, make a loop that way, make a loop this way, so you have this. Because you never want a circle for your hand to get caught in, because that would be bad if the horse were to take off and then all of a sudden your hand just goes with your horse, just dragging around like, those kids drag the little ducks, you know what I'm saying? That would be gross, and this is getting morbid, so we're gonna stop. So you can see how I've done up my rope where there is no loop for my hand to get caught in, and then as the horse is going, you just can let it out and then pick it back up by doing this. I personally don't use a lunging whip with her just because she doesn't need it. She knows the vocal cues, she knows to stay on the circle, and slinging this around is enough. So that is personal preference. If you have a lazy horse, you might actually need the lunging stick, but it's also super important to note that lunging is actually double what you would be riding, so 10 minutes on the lunge is worth 20 minutes of riding because it is super tight turns, and it can be pretty hard on the horse, so be careful not to overdo it. Yeah, I'm sorry for looking disgusting today, but let's get rocking and rolling, huh? Are you coming? Ooh, that's a big bug. Ah! Alright guys, so after getting over the bug, I asked her to walk on, and you'll notice she puts her head down, and it's very important to keep the rope up off the ground, because let me tell you, getting it in between their legs, not fun. The horse will say, I have been captured by a snake, it is time to go into self-preservation mode, goodbye human! The equine is walking a bit slow, but it is okay, because she is assessing her surroundings and sniffing the ground, checking it all out, and also stretching over her back as she does it. Lacy bean. So as I said earlier in the video, the most important thing about lunging is your body language. And on some horses it may not matter as much, but Zoe is super sensitive and super responsive. And if I get in front of her shoulder, she'll automatically turn in. You'll see that later in the video because I did it on accident. I'm still not a pro. And you can see there I just stepped back and am adjusting her a little bit. I was asking for a bit of a tighter circle to try and get her to engage her body a little bit more and pay attention to me instead of what's going on outside. Also, something to note is that the inside ear must be on you at all times. If not, they're not paying attention to you and you're being ignored. Ha 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 ha, you're irrelevant. And you guys can see here, now I've lengthened the rope a little bit and I'm walking towards her, asking her to take the circle a bit bigger. However, something you never want to do is take a huge big step towards your horse really aggressively, because you might spook them or startle them, and you just kind of want to be slow about everything that you do, so it's a gentle pressure, and when they release, you stop putting on pressure.
Oh, look at her. You just gotta love a stretchy pony. She's so stretchy.
Good girl.
So when you ask the animal to stop, you step back and you say "Huo," and you get 10 Huo. So as I begin to ask for a change of direction, I give her a little pat on the nose and switch my water rope into my other hand and then cue the hind end. Here I made a mistake by walking backwards in a circle. Generally what happens is your horse will just keep turning into you. So don't do that. And then I just walk her down back to where I was in the view of the camera and then cued her on the circle and then I continue walking with her. You can see I'm letting the rope out a little bit because I want her to come off of me. And I'm having to take step backs because she's not taking up the slack. But if you walk towards her, Jill, she will go out on the circle. It's how lunging works. Isn't it brilliant? Wow.
Little more. Good girl. Canter. Good.
So it should be noted that sometimes when you ask your horse to canter, they may be a little more expressive about it. They may buck or rear or get really into it, and just keep sending them forward if you can. Letting them do that and then get out of work is counterintuitive. However, be safe and know your horse and maybe ask your trainer to do it first. And this is where things get interesting.
Are you okay?
So as you can see, I just walk up to her and give her a little comfort from her spook because the neighbor's dogs always just run up to the fence and start barking out of nowhere. So I, of course, send her back out on the circle and try to keep her mind still on, hi, we're working, and that freaking out and spooking doesn't get you out of work. So something to really consider when you are training a horse is the tone of your voice. If you are speaking, see, how did you react to that? You didn't like it, did you? No, neither with the horse. You have to say, whoa, easy, baby girl, everything will be okay.
Good girl. Good. Giraffe. Good job. Come on, keep going. Giraffe. Trot. Thank you.
So here you'll see she begins a little lower frame and starts really stretching. But when I ask her to go into canter, she loses her balance, and then that always makes her mad. So blow up, and I just try and keep her going and keep her relaxed, just like that.
Giraffe. There we go. Canter. Good job. Good. Canter. Yay.
So she lost her balance again because she got a little quick, and then she actually bucked to regain it. And after they kind of act up like that, the best thing to do is just keep them going. Obviously, she fell out of the trot. I didn't want to rush her back into the gate because that would only lead to more imbalance. And you saw she tried to turn in, and I just signaled her back out. Just keep going on the circle. No abrupt movements or any like harsh disciplines. That's only going to escalate the situation.
Giraffe. What is over there?
At about this point, I keep asking her, and she's still just not paying attention. And she's not deliberately acting up. She's just spooking at the neighbor's dogs and just wanted to take a good look at it. So I just relented and figured it would be best for the situation to just let her have a look and settle down a bit.
Just the neighbor's dogs.
So I feel that it's almost crucial that I include these rough moments in our training process today because horse training is all about intuition. You have to assess what's best for you and your horse, and the situations are always touch and go. So my goal was relaxation, and then I messed up. You see, I step in front of her, and she turns in. She did exactly what I asked her to do. So then I just told her it was okay because it was a bit of abrupt movement and I just wanted her to relax, and then I'll bring her back into the circle and start again. So my end goal was to get her to relax, not thinking about the dogs anymore. Just, well, think about what you're doing, girl. Here you will see what happens if idiot human keeps walking backwards when asking horse to go forward, but when I walk forwards at her, she says, oh, I understand.
goodness. Oh, I need you to take the energy from up here to down here. Sure. Walk on. Good. Good. Sure.
Oh, sorry, voiceover Jill happened to fall asleep. Okay, so you'll notice here I have brought her into a tighter circle just because she was having a little fun on the lunge. She kept losing her balance, so I brought her in to make her think about her feet a little bit and then send her back out on the circle. And see here, the aim was to take little successes. I just wanted a few calm strides of canter, nothing too strenuous, and then we get a good halt, and that's all, Zoe. Jeez!
Obviously, didn't address what to do when a horse gets spooky. What happened with her is died. Got him. He's dead. No more bug. Like, obviously, she got a little excited. She always never fails bucks when she loses her balance. She does not like it, and it's a tighter circle in here because of the footing is a little wet, and she wasn't too happy about that. So yeah, she got a little bucky and whatnot, but it's never like being bad. And on the lunge they're allowed to play. She doesn't have any tack on. She is allowed to be a goofball as long as she settles and goes back to work. And after I got the left lead canter easy, which is funny because that's your good lead, but after we got that and she settled a little bit, just be happy there. Also, there are dogs and neighbors doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and then there are her buddies next to her, and so there's a lot going on that she's actually really good to not focus on. But obviously at one point she stopped and turned to face me, and that was because I got in front of her shoulder. You're supposed to be in between the shoulder and the hip, but I stand a little back here, and I walk with her as she's walking so that I can stay in this spot. I want to be here, and if I get here or here, she says, okay, time to turn in, and then she does. But I don't like being that abrupt. Also, you can hear my vocal cues. I'm going, oh, walk, or cherat, like being very quiet, and if I have to take a big step to keep up with her body so that I don't make her spin around or go faster or spook her, I just take a big step slowly and just kind of step around. And I'm sure you guys saw all that, and I've got the voiceover going, so I'm excited to put this video up for you guys because a lot of people ask me how I lunge her, because she's normally very good on the lunge, but that's fine. The bad is there also, and there are exciting parts that can happen in lunging, so I feel like this was a very real representation of it. And then if you just get scared and say, I don't want this anymore, then the horse learns that if they rear up or buck on the lunge, then they don't have to go to work. And just for the record, she does that while I'm riding too. She says, play with it. All the bitless keyboard warriors coming at me. It's abuse. She wants it out. She's trying to get it out of her mouth. Actually, she's just playing with it. She plays with her tongue like that when there's no bit in her mouth. Anything else you'd like to add? A yawn? Tired? Brain spent? Anyway, what I was saying, horses will be horses on the lunge especially. If you get afraid or scared when they rear or buck, obviously if it's dangerous you may need to ask a coach or somebody a little more well-versed in lunging to help you work the horse through it, because if you just stop, then they learn that that bad behavior gets them out of work. So instead of getting riled or punishing her for doing it, I just put her back on the circle and make her go back to work. And it's no big deal. I'm not overreacting, because if I overreact and get onto her for it, yeah, she really hates things in her mouth. If I get onto her and overreact about it, then she just escalates and gets excited and afraid, and don't need that. Are you okay? She says, I'm exhausted. But yeah, so I'm gonna go hose her off now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was beneficial in some way, shape, or form. Let me know if you tried my methods and if they helped at all. And if you have any questions, please do comment on this video. I do read all of the comments, or shoot me a question on Ask FM. All of my social media is linked down below, so make sure you check all of that out. Have a wonderful day. Okay, goodbye.